The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hilary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And a good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome aboard. It is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live this Tuesday, August number 15 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number this morning is, as usual, 603-835-3226. Welcome to all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. We are glad, glad that you are here to celebrate Tuesday with us. Today we do expect Joe Kincannon, who is running for public office in New York City. And I know some of you are probably saying, well, what does New York City have to do with the rest of the nation? As I have said oftentimes before, all politics is local, and you have got to stop the flow of the swamp crapola coming from localities all across the country into Washington, D.C. Got some stuff, so we'll be talking to him next hour. What's going on in New York City. I know everybody probably wants to talk about all this, these new protests. Look, folks, you might as well get used to this. This protest stuff, this protest violence, you might as well get used to it. It is going to be here for a while. It is going to be here until the good old snowflakes get one of their own elected. They don't give a shit about the rest of us. Yeah, I said that. Because this is the way we've raised them. It's all about them. They know what's best for everybody. We've got a new arrogance out there. Why? Because, they're all so well educated. They don't know jack. I'm amazed at just how... Yeah. Some of them are rather, they're rather brilliant and smart when it comes to computers. But overall, I'm amazed at how stupid the millennial generation is. Really. Now, I know I'm lumping them all into one basket, and that's, you can't really generalize in such a way. But let me be frank. Generally speaking, and this does not go for every single millennial, obviously, but generally speaking, the millennials have got to be the most ignorant, educated group of people this world has ever seen. They have been ill-educated. They know absolutely Nothing. I mean, just a couple of weekends ago, I was with family. I was with my sister, and she was talking about what my niece was having to get for school this year, high school. And she was talking about she's got to get this special kind of calculator in order to do, algebra and geometry. And I'm like, wait, what? The teachers are telling you that you have to go out and buy this ridiculously expensive calculator? Yes. So whatever happened to doing it in your head like we used to do? Oh, no, they got to have a calculator now. Oh, so they're going to use a calculator. So one, they can get the answer right more often. And two, they don't have to learn how to do it in their head. And so they'll continue this whole notion that they won't be able to give us change back without looking at the cash register. And that's not teaching them anything. Well, I mean, that's my sister's a teacher. She can say, yeah, I know, but what are you going to do? I can't, she's got to have it. Every student's got to have their own. This is nonsensical. So we're spending even more because now every parent, whether you're wealthy or you're middle class or you're poor, now every student is now their parents have to pay for their property taxes that go to the schools in most communities across this country. That's how schools are paid for. Is the main portion of school funding is done through property taxes. So they're paying their property taxes. Now they've got to, and then they're told, well, we don't have enough money in school budgets for your kid to participate in extracurricular activities. So now the parents have got to fork over money, for sports or band or any other after school activity. Now I'm being told that, my sister's like, well, yeah, we also have to pay for lab fees. What do you mean lab fees? For chemistry. Yeah, that's part of the curriculum. Oh, no, you got to pay for the lab fee. A lab fee? So now parents have got to pay for, in public school, you've got to pay for additional lab fees for chemistry. Now, what happens if a parent can't afford to give the kid pay for the kids' lab fees? And she told me the price. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then she's got to go out and buy this stupid calculator that's over $100 for a freaking calculator for one damn class. And what do we get out of it? We get a bunch of know-nothing Neanderthals running around protesting the other day. And this is all that we've gotten from Occupy Wall Street until today. You ask them basic questions about this country, about world history, about simple things, simple questions. They don't know the answer to them. And what's worse, they don't care that they don't know. But yet this is the same group of people, millennials, that are going to run around and tell us what's good and what's bad and what's best for the rest of us. They're worse and more arrogant than their baby boomer parents. Think about this. We've got a bunch of people running around that don't know a damn. You've got somebody out there talking about how white supremacists don't have a right to speak in this country. What? Where in the Constitution does it say that? And who's to decide what a white supremacist is? Because according to some of these people on the left, all of y'all who have pale skin are white supremacists because you have white privilege. I still haven't figured out exactly what that is yet. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what white privilege is. Because there's an awful lot of dumb, stupid, and poor white people that don't have any privilege whatsoever. And there's an awful lot of black privileged people who are black and Latino. So I'm still trying to figure out what's so special about white privilege. Especially when you're not allowed to be proud to be white, but hell, it's so good to be a black person today in America, man. They'll even give you your own orientation day. They'll give you in colleges. They'll give you your own clubs in colleges. You try to start a white group, and oh my God, this shit hits the fan. You can't do that, but you want to start an African American or Latino club? More power to you. So what's the white privilege again? White people are not allowed to congregate, but black people and Latino people can exclude white people, even the white people who want to learn about black people. Oh, no, you're too pale, so you can't join our club. What kind of white privilege is that? And when you point out this hypocrisy, they look at you with a blank stare because they don't get it. That's how dumb they are. You point out their own hypocrisy and they look at you like you've got two heads because they don't understand. They can't put two and two together. Maybe we ought to come up with some sort of calculator for them to figure that one out. I mean, this is the most poorly educated, overly educated group of people this planet has probably ever seen. Well, we got a bunch of people out there that got master's degrees and PhDs, and they're just hitting their stride at 35, the leading edge of them, 35 and 36, and they still don't know jack. And this is a group of people that's going to be taking over the reins of power in this country. Are you scared yet? Let me tell you something. I am frightened beyond frightened. Because I am not that much older, so I expect to be around for a lot longer. And in my old age, in my senior years, this is a group of people that's going to be in charge of our country. I'm never retiring. And this is I'm not just being overly dramatic, folks. I'm asking you to think about this sincerely. Look around you at the millennial generation who is now, 1980 on to 1999, year 2000. The leading edge is what? They're 36 now, 35, 36. They're starting to have babies. Those are the ones that are out there protesting. You tell me that these kids know what they're doing. You tell me that they're smart enough to understand what's going on in the world. You tell me that they're well-rounded and educated. Seriously. And then you honestly tell me that you would be more than happy and you would trust them to the nth degree to turn over the reins of power both in corporate America and in government America tomorrow so you could sit by and enjoy the rest of your life. There's not a single damn person out there, if they were being honest with themselves, that could positively say that. Not even the baby boomers, because they know that they've raised a bunch of jackasses and dumbasses. Hell, half of them are still sitting in their parents' basements because they can't find a damn job, even though jobs are now becoming plentiful. That's why we have a bus driver shortage. You know who drives a bus? Not the younger ones. Oh, no, not the millennials. It's the older generations. They're driving buses. And you know what? They're not driving buses anymore because why? Because there's more high-paying jobs that they can get. So we've got a bus driver shortage because we've got a bunch of millennials who are sitting on their collective asses at home, not doing a damn thing, but running around protesting when there are jobs to be had. And they're not taking them. And their wonderful baby boomer parents are saying, well, we spent all this money on this college education. They might as well use it. Nobody wants to hire them because they're idiots. Forget that most of them got useless degrees, but even the ones with useful degrees, they're still idiots. They didn't learn a damn thing. And that's okay because, these are the wonderful kids that, hey, if you want 2 + 2 to be 5, It's really important how you got there, not that you got the right answer. Well, in this day and age, when there is so much that counts on accuracy and truth and logic, oh, no, it doesn't matter how you get to the right answer, as long as you get to the right answer. Because right now, you're running around promoting wrong answers that everybody that is older than these millennials, and now it appears that Generation Z is picking up on this, and they don't want to be as stupid as their older brothers and sisters who are millennials. They want to be a little bit smarter. But now, by the way, now millennials are teaching Generation Z. Think about that for a second. The wonderful Antifa crowd is now teaching elementary school students. Yeah. You still think you're going to retire?
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shade brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
Zero 835-3226. That is the number to call should you wish to join me here this morning. Today's holidays is an interesting cacophony of days. We'll start at the top. Today is Assumption of Mary Day. It is observed this day every every year, annually. It's supposed to be an international Catholic holiday. So today is Assumption of Mary Day. It's also the National I Love Cowboys and Cowgirls Day. It's a day to honor, reflect, and celebrate the legacy and legendary legend of cowboys and cowgirls across the old American West. Well, if this was Star Trek, you wouldn't say Old West, you'd say Ancient West. Anybody ever pick that up when they were watching Star Trek Next Generation? You know, they always talked about the Old West in the United States. It's because they're like 500 years in the future. It was the Ancient West. I mean, do you realize how close we are to that time frame? A lot of the old cowboys and stuff, the heroes were alive in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. The real cow in this country. So we're only like, a generation or two removed. Some of us, probably have grandparents or great-grandparents that were actually alive and roaming the West on a horseback in the late 1800s. So just saying. I mean, I have a great-grandparent that I knew quite well. He was born in the 1880s, and he died in the early, the late 70s. He was almost 90 years old or something like that. But he was, I got to know him. His name was Marshall Taylor. He was half Cherokee and half Creole, which was also more Cherokee mixed in there. So the man was nearly 3/4 Cherokee. My mother has some old pictures of him and photographs. A handsome man in his younger days, let me tell you. Definitely see the Native American in him, which is why I have it in me, obviously. But yeah, and he hails from the Arkansas area, and I think he was born in Louisiana, 1880s. But some of the stories that he used to tell about his early days and his childhood, and what he had saw to that point, going from basically horse and buggy to the automobile and interstate highways and airports with jet aircraft. I mean, what a change in a lifetime. What a change. In any case, today is also National Failures Day. National Failures Day is a day dedicated to examining past failures and using them to help you achieve greater success in the future and avoid failures. Like the Achilles laurel and all that kind of stuff. We're supposed to watch out for past failures. I guess the millennial generation isn't paying attention to National Failures Day. Today is also a day I could get behind because I love me some good lemon meringue pie. Today is National Lemon Meringue Pie Day. It is also a day that I will probably never get to fully enjoy because of millennials. Today is National Relaxation Day. Yeah, they actually have a day for to relax. Today is National... You would think that they would have it on a weekend. It would be like the first weekend in August or something every year. But no, it's observed every 15th of August. So it doesn't matter if it's on a Tuesday or Saturday or even a Wednesday. And this year it falls on a Tuesday. National Relaxation Day. So don't go to work, or if you are at work, just relax at work, I guess. Well, nobody's telling these wonderful millennials that today's relaxation today. Today is also Nicholas Chauvin Day. Now, who the hell is Nicholas Chauvin? Nicholas Chauvin is the name of a French patriot in the early 1800s in the time of Napoleon. His name created the word chauvinist, but as it turns out, the meaning wasn't originally what it means today. As male chauvinist pig. The original chauvinist, however, was a French soldier whose patriotism was rather far on the excessive side. Nicholas Chauvin believed Napoleon Bonaparte was more or less perfect, and he was willing to follow Napoleon anywhere and everywhere to do anything and everything to support his cause. Many stories have been passed down through the years about Chauvin, but they generally agree that he was born in Rochefort, enlisted at a young age, and was wounded repeatedly. Many stories say 17 separate individual times. Chauvin was severely disfigured to his many injuries, and Napoleon himself presented him with the Saber of Honneur. Honneur de Saber. In other words, pretty much like, some bravery and all that kind of stuff. So I guess actually to be called a chauvinist was really at one point an honor. National Nicholas Chauvin Day.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You know, there's more to the story to the Nicolas Chauvin, is how it should be properly pronounced in the French. He wasn't really all that bad of a guy. He was just well, I mean, we could take into consideration today's modern chauvinist, not today's male chauvinist, but chauvinist. We have people like that surround, no matter what, they still protect people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So we in this country today, we have a bunch of chauvinist originalists. Now, however, the story continues with Chauvin. That in due time, Napoleon lost his power, obviously, and was exiled. But then Chauvin's extreme loyalty to the losing side earned him plenty of derision under the new government. Of course, his blind faith in Napoleon was seen as foolish, ridiculous, and absurd. Pretty much how we view all these people who have this blind faith in abject loyalty towards Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Thus, the original term of chauvinist became used for those who harbored ridiculously extreme nationalism or patriotism or singularism, as in, like this guy Chauvin, just singularly thinking that Napoleon was basically the shit. His shit didn't stink, right? Okay. And we have people that do that for Democrats, and to some degree, we have people like that celebrate Donald Trump in the same vein. Every president, did George Bush have those kind of people? Every president has those kind of people, really. I guess every major politician has those kind of people. But how far are they willing to go? Now, I don't know if they're really, there's that kind of loyalty behind Donald Trump. If Donald Trump does something, obviously wrong, I think the bulk of his support is going to go bye-bye. But we already know what Hillary Clinton has done wrong. We already know how much of a abject failure Barack Obama is. And they still have all these chauvinists running around. But as time went on, anyone who held absurdly strong attachment to any person, group, or cause became known as a chauvinist. So that's the original term of chauvinist. Now we use the term primarily for men who staunchly believe in the superiority of men over women. So does that mean then, if you have because we got feminists out there that believe women are superior to men, do we now have female chauvinists? I think so. If that's how the meaning of the term is come of age, well, that's why we have to say male chauvinist. Because otherwise, if it only meant men, being pigs at thinking they're superior to women, we wouldn't have to use the word male when we say male chauvinist. Obviously, females can be chauvinists as well. So we can have female chauvinists. So in other words, chauvinist has come to mean somebody who feels that they are superior. And so I guess we also could say we have liberal chauvinists, do we not? We do. Think about the meaning of the term and the name and the history behind the name of this guy. in how the term is being used today. So in order for somebody to say, well, they're a chauvinist, we really have to, predicate what kind of chauvinist. Well, it's male chauvinist. Okay, now we fully understand what you're talking about. And you could say female chauvinist, and you'll probably get a lot of people look at you like you've got two heads, but the reality is that would be apropos. That would be accurate. We have this Rush likes to call them the NAG gang, National Association of Gals, which is actually the NOW group, the National Organization of Women. They're, Gloria Allred and those people, they're a bunch of female chauvinists. And of course, you got all the wonderful protesters out there to think that their shit doesn't stink, so they're a bunch of liberal chauvinists. Because they think they're superior, their thought process is superior, so much so that they're the ones that actually know what the Constitution says and means, and they're the ones that can dictate to us whether or not somebody has a freedom of speech. Because, hey, if you're a white supremacist, you don't have a right to speak. And if you're a white male full of white male privilege, you don't have a right to speak. So these are liberal chauvinists. Because believe it or not, you can look these people dead in the eye, and they are not just shooting rainbows out of their arses, their collective arses, if you will. They actually believe the BS that they're spewing. Much like this Nicolas Chauvin believed in Napoleon Bonaparte. He could do no wrong. Well, in the liberal chauvinist eyes, liberalism cannot be wrong at all. I think we found a new term, folks, right here in the Rod Eccles Show. Liberal chauvinism. Just saying. Now run around and use it everywhere. We should do a hashtag. Hashtag liberal chauvinism. I'm going to start that. Hashtag liberal chauvinism. Now, I don't think hashtags work all that well on Facebook, but Twitter is run by hashtags. So that liberal chauvinism. Use that. Hashtag. We're going to start using that. This is an epiphany here, folks. We've actually found a way to identify this foolishness that is quickly engulfing, or has quickly engulfed an entire generation and is threatening to engulf another generation. Liberal chauvinism. By the way, have you seen some of the pictures coming out of Charlottesville? Now, one of the things I noticed watching yesterday, I saw the video of this nut job running people. He wasn't very good at running people over with his Charger, by the way. He seemed to go awfully. I'm not saying the man should have gone faster and you should have just. Well, if you're going to run people over and try to kill people, shouldn't you floor it? You shouldn't brake and then back up. The idiot didn't know what he was doing when he was trying to run. Yeah, he succeeded in killing one person. No, but folks, I mean, let's be realistic here. What the hell was he doing? Honestly, what was he doing? But what caught my attention also, not just the fact that this guy was running into people with his foot on the brake, but these wonderful, peaceful protesters, a whole slew of them, they had sticks and bats. What the hell were they doing with sticks and bats in their hands if they were there to peacefully protest the white nationalist, white supremacist protesters, who obviously were there to protest peacefully too? So we've got two extremist groups coming together, and I understood why the cops stood down. Let's be honest with this for a second. If you were a police department that was heavily outnumbered, what would you do? Would you try to keep the protest horror contained to a specific part of your city, or would you try to intervene? I just try to keep it contained myself, and I'd say, well, let two asshole groups tear each other a new asshole. So there you have it. You have a bunch of, well, I'm sorry, but the leftist groups are nothing but a bunch of racists too. They really are. So you've got two racist groups on the opposite ends of the political spectrum going at each other. I would probably sell popcorn. Now, I know some people are saying, Rod, that is you are just over the top on that one. Somebody died. I understand that. And my heart goes out to that woman's family, her friends and family. That should never have happened in this country. But when you have such violent groups that are now opposed, and let's face it, one of the most violent groups this country has ever seen is now the millennial generation. I don't remember the KKK burning down entire city neighborhoods and blocks. I don't remember the KKK or any white supremacist group taking over downtowns and financial districts and business districts in cities all over this country like Occupy Wall Street. I did not see any white supremacist group making a total mess and destroying public and private property on a mass and scale that we have seen these millennials do. They claim they're peaceful, but yet they go to protest with bats and sticks. And if they're not the ones in the car running people over, they want to kill you. It was inevitable that these two extremist groups were going to meet, and that it was going to be violent. And I have said this before. I have said people were going to start to die at these so-called protests. And damn it to hell, I was right again. This is one of those times I wanted to be so wrong. But unfortunately, histoire, the French way of pronouncing history, and logic dictates that was going to be the inevitable conclusion, and it's not going to be the last time. It's not, folks. Unfortunately, I mean, this is beyond. I mean, these anti-Trumpers, these well, I guess you really can't say a liberal is a never-Trumper. The never-Trumpers are really, really the meaning of never-Trumper is a so-called GOP or Republican or conservative who's against Trump. You gotta expect that the liberals are going to be a never Trumper, because it wouldn't matter who the Republican is, they would still be out there protesting to this day. If it were a President Cruz or even a President Huckabee, which is why, or not Huckabee, but Kasich. If it were President Kasich, they would still be doing the same damn thing on the left. This is why you got to understand this from the left's point of view. This is not anti-Trump. This is anti-conservatism, anti-constitution, plain and simple. Any one of those 17 or 18 candidates could have been elected as president, not just Trump. Any one of the GOP 18, and they would be out there protesting just as vehemently, just as violently against that person. Because simply, the only person that should have won, well, the reality is those who are really doing the protesting, in their eyes, the only person that should have won was Bernie Sanders, but they will accept, many of them, Hillary Clinton. The only person who should have won, that was on that ticket in November of 2016, was Hillary Clinton. Yeah, it's the only one. Wouldn't have mattered who else was on the ticket. In their eyes, in these liberal chauvinist eyes, they were the only ones that were right. And to put it in the terms and the words of one of those wonderful female liberals, is because Hillary lost, not because Donald Trump won. but because Hillary Clinton lost. And as she tearfully said on camera, that was shown over and over again, far and wide, "You better fix this shit now!"
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face and sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Listening to this sort of music today, since it's National Relaxation Day. I've had people. I appreciate it though, and I'm not really making fun of people, but I have had people that have expressed sincere concern for my health. They think I'm going to have a heart attack, and I'm sorry, but the left should be so lucky. Yeah. You know, they have these different kinds of personalities. You know, there are people. This is medically been proven. They've done these studies and stuff where this so-called A-type personality. I know you could say asshole type if you want to, but this A-type person. I've had bosses like this, where they would just completely and utterly explode. And then 30 seconds later, they're fine. And as it turns out, A-type personalities who are like that, who release their frustration, who don't hold it in, they tend to have lower blood pressure and lower rates of heart disease and heart attack than people who hold it in. So the reality is, I guess I'm healthier than people who, because I let it out. I'm healthier than people who hold it in. And usually it's there, it flies, and it's gone, and I feel better, and it's a release. You might want to, well, I shouldn't say this, but you might, if you have a B-type personality, a person who internalizes all that, that's bad for you. You need to externalize it, but you need to know how to do it properly. So you just don't, because there are some A-types that just don't know how to externalize their anger and frustration properly, and it ensnares so many people around them, and that's not good for the people around them. But generally speaking, to have an A-type is not a bad thing. So my health is pretty damn good. Other than possibly being bitten by a tick about a month ago, just great. This has probably been this program over the last few years has probably been better for my health than anything else, because I get to explode on the air, and I know some of you like it when I get. I didn't coin the term going nuclear. Somebody, when I was on Blog Talk Radio, they coined it. They said, "Wow, man, you just went nuclear." And so I don't usually come up with this stuff. When somebody else comes up with something cool, I embrace it. I don't try to run from it. So that's why the whole thing is, I say, well, yeah, I'm about to explode, and they go, no, you just went nuclear, dude. Okay, so that's where it came from. Blog Talk, some listeners from Blog Talk Radio, way back in the day. Yeah, and that's supposed to be healthy according to medical professionals that know about this kind of stuff, I guess. Well, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. But anyway, today's National Relaxation Day, so maybe we should be more relaxing. But here's a story from hot air that sort of prevents one from being relaxing. What if you are both? Well, Chris in the chat room, I guess I'm a little bit of both. I don't always explode on people. I mean, there are times when I just, there are times just I just don't believe what I'm hearing or seeing. And I don't externalize it. I internalize it because I just can't believe it. It's just, but anyway, I suppose if you're both and you could let it build up to a certain point, that's probably not a good thing, to let it build up. Well, we got a call. We don't have a lot of time, but let's take a quick call here. Good morning, darling. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Well, I've been listening to you, and I had a few things to bring, some thoughts that I wanted to bring up. One is about all of the censoring that seems to be going on with Google. And of course, and as you probably are aware, I don't know if you are in this situation, but like for Twitter, for instance, I am shadowboxed. Are you?
I see that you are, yes. I'm not nowhere near chatterbox like you on Twitter, no.
But anyway, I saw where Diamond and Silk had been demonetized, and I think they're huge voices in the community, and America-wise. And they also they took Lee Stranahan's YouTube channel down. He's lost 10 years worth of work, and David Zublick is Zublick, his channel. And my point being that our founding fathers, they gave us our fundamental rights. And that is...
They did. I really hate to cut you short, but I do have to run for this hard break at the top of the hour. Do me a favor. I got Joe Kincannon coming up next. Give me a call back right after Joe.
You bet. I will do so. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, coming back to you, hour number 2 here on this Tuesday, August number 15 in the year of our Lord 2017. We were expecting local assemblyman candidate of New York City, Joe Kincannon, to call in, but I guess he's a little tied up this morning, and that is fine. So as soon as he calls in, we will get to him. We're expecting him to call in hopefully shortly. You know, well, hey, when you're running a campaign, man, there's a lot of things going on, and sometimes there's certain things that you have to take care of that are more important, and I fully understand it. But in any case, so we will get to him hopefully this half hour, if he has the chance to call in. Let us know what's going on in New York City. Here in Boston, yesterday there was it made national news. One of the Holocaust memorials or something like that. I have not been down to Boston to see this, but it was made of glass. And one of the glass panes, this is the second time I think this has happened, was vandalized and shattered. Now, the interesting thing about it, news reports is that they have quite a few extra panels of glass. Now, I don't know where they have them stored, but they have extra panels of glass because they anticipated this. Now, if you anticipate this type of vandalism is going to happen, in my brain it says, well, let's design the memorial to be a bit more, shall we say, resistant, terroristic threat resistant, vandalism resistant. Why have glass that easily breaks? I often just do not understand how some people think. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have beautiful sculptures and memorials and things like that, but if you are going into such a thing, knowing that there's going to be problems, that you have to make sure that you have extra on hand to quickly make the repairs, you shouldn't. In my brain, I would have said, well, if we're going to anticipate this, should we not make these things or this thing a little bit more resistant to these sort of acts? If we know that if we're anticipating that this kind of stuff is going to happen, should we not build this thing, design it to make it more resistant? I would think so. Now, I'm not faulting the designers and builders of this memorial. It is strictly on the people who want to vandalize it. But at the same time, how is it that we make certain structures across this country? We try to anticipate the worst that this structure is going to have to withstand from, let's say, Mother Nature, or we build a bridge. We build bridges today that go over roadways that can resist certain types of accidents, so the bridge doesn't collapse. Right? We don't have a bunch of extra construction material laying around for every bridge and building that we erect, do we? No, we anticipate what could possibly happen up to a certain extreme. Now, obviously, you can't build for every contingency, but we build these things to meet certain extremes, so they don't fail and cause even more damage. So why don't we have the same type of thought process when it comes to, let's say, a Jewish Holocaust memorial? You're going to make it out of a bunch of glass panels, all the while knowing that somebody's going to come up and break them, so you're going to have extra glass panels around. I'm just saying maybe we should rethink all this stuff. Now, first of all, I know I'm kind of going to step in it here, but I think today's society, we like to over-memorialize everything. We do. We like to memorialize and museumatize just about anything and everything, because somehow that makes us feel better. And it's really the memorials. A lot of these memorials really aren't teaching the history behind whatever action or act took place. They're just there for us to remember these people. And who are these people? I don't know. Looks like we got Joe Kincannon here. Let's bring him on. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good morning, Rod. How are you?
I am great. I am blessed and highly favored, as I always say.
Yeah, it's a great day to be in New York.
I was just talking about there was a Holocaust memorial that was recently erected in Boston that was vandalized for a second time in as many weeks. Are you finding that there's a bunch of vandalism going on down in New York City on certain memorials, or is there protest to certain memorials?
Not that I'm seeing right now. Our biggest challenge here in New York City is making sure that the memorials are kept up to date and replenished and restored as nicely as they were the first day that they were brought in. That's our major concern here in the city of New York. But it is just about 10:15, so I'll have to go into City Hall and and wake up the mayor because it's just about beyond his nap time. So I'll have to go in and ask him after he's finished.
Well, today is National Relaxation Day. Earlier in the show we just read off all the wonderful holidays of today, and one of the holidays is National Relaxation Day. So maybe he knows that and he's taking it to heart.
Yeah, that could be. He's not doing much else of any good here in New York City, so maybe it's better off that he hibernates for the rest of the year.
Joe, yesterday on the show, I was really hitting home on the fact that something that Tip O'Neill once said back in the 80s when he said that all politics is local, meaning that in order to get to the national level, we have to take care of the local stuff. And you're running for a local office in New York City. What exact position are you campaigning for at the moment?
Well, just so everybody knows, my name is Joe Concannon. My website is joe.ny.com. And the seat that I'm running for is the New York City Council seat. And you're absolutely right. And this is the point that I try and get to a lot of people. There are people that are going to be running for governor, for Congress, and everything else in between. And it's the local seats that matter. The local seats are the beginning of any movement, any political correction, especially here in New York State, that needs to happen. We consider this council seat a pivot point to take back the congressional seat that extends from Queens into Huntington. That's the pivot point. If Rob Astorino or anyone else is going to run for governor on the Republican side of the House, well, this is a pivot point because on a statewide level, they really only have to win 35% of the count in the New York City counties. So winning looks different on a statewide basis, and winning also looks different on a national basis when you look at this seat. So if we address, as Republican leaders in the local area, such as Queens County or in my local District 23 council seat, if we address those little things, and this is almost like the broken windows theory on steroids, but if we address the dead trees, the potholes, the missing signs, and all of the nonsense that is supposed to be corrected by the city agencies every day, if we do that, we will get elected. And if we get elected locally, that will help and champion our efforts on a state and federal basis as well.
Now, I've seen you posting stuff about things like broken and bad sidewalks and potholes and stuff, and people sometimes make fun of that. But the reality is that this is what local government is supposed to be taking care of. They're not really supposed to be in on the national stuff, like whether or not they're going to be a sanctuary city. That's a national issue that local government should not really be getting involved in. They're supposed to be, the money that's being paid out in taxes is supposed to take care of the local society, and that's part of local society. So if they're not doing their job on that kind of stuff, would it be safe to say that they're falling down on a lot of other issues that are also important to the local community?
Well, I'll tell you this, Rod. The guy that I'm running against, and I'm not promoting his name, but I'll just say the guy I'm running against is considered number 3 in a latest state and city survey that was sent out there. 43 out of 51. He isn't the worst. But boys, he certainly is close to it. And all of these things actually matter to people. Here in the city of New York, if you get tree limbs that are hanging over your yard, whether it's the front of your yard or the back of your yard, the city wants to come in and they want to fine you if you address the issue yourself. So we depend on these city services that when we go into 311 here in the city of New York and file a complaint, that the complaint is addressed both timely and accurately, and that the agencies respond. And that's one of the reasons that if anybody follows me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Joe from New York, Joe number 4, and why. You'll see one of the things I end it with is this is New York City, and we can do better. All right, because I know the majority of the people in these city agencies are good people, but they got to step it up a little bit. All right, because there's people paying taxes on the other end, and those people want to see a city government that is not only reactive but proactive. All right, and taking care of those what we call order maintenance issues in the community, whether it's the potholes, the trees, the sewers, all of these, seemingly simple things that nobody wants to really hear about, but that make our lives so much easier every day. In other words, twice a week we get our garbage picked up. Well, we want that to happen, and we want it to happen efficiently every single week. And, when the garbage guys come by, we don't want them spilling half the garbage out into the street. And generally speaking, they never do. All right? But when there's a problem with something like that, we want it addressed. And all of these various issues that are coming up. So you're absolutely right.
Now, doesn't it have a lot to do with being able to manage properly, being fiscally responsible with the tax dollars that come in? Because if you now let's face it, New York City has a high local tax rate compared to most of the rest of the country when it comes to local taxes. And if they cannot, this high tax rate, if they cannot keep the city streets clean and well in good repair, there's some malfeasance going on there, and that can mushroom going up to the state levels, which means the state has to give in more money, more tax dollars go to a place that's being poorly run, which then translate to a national level. Are we wrong in thinking that?
No, it stresses the entire system. When one person falls down on the job, it puts the burden on the others. I'm initially from the police department, and if the police department's putting out 5 sectors in a precinct somewhere, and that means 5 radio cars with a 2-man team, and one of them is sitting on their hands all day long, that puts additional burden, stress, and pressure on the other 4 teams. So everybody's got to step up to the plate. I'm very, very proud to receive a lot of support from the Superior Officers Association. It's a group of retired police chiefs here in the city of New York. It's SOAR, Superior Officers Retired Association. And they understand it. They get it. They understand that if everybody does their job, all right, there's less stress on others. I just received the endorsement from COBRA, the Corrections Officers Benevolent Association. Same thing with them. They understand that if everybody does their job, that it creates less pressure on the system. Yesterday, I took a picture, a very, very simpleton picture, and really it was simple. It was of a dead tree on Hillside Avenue with the tree branches in the street. And it makes the point. If somebody had just taken care of that, not based on a complaint, but somebody from the Department of Parks, from the Department of Sanitation, from one of the agencies, even DOT, came along with one of their trucks and just said, hey, those broken tree branches are extending into the traffic lanes and into the parking lane on Hillside Avenue, which is a very busy area by 232nd Street. It's an area where there's a school coming out of that building, and it's right across the street from Martin Van Buren High School. So it's a very heavily trafficked area. But I took the picture because it tells the story. Nobody's paying attention. Everyone's asleep at the switch, and these things are what drives people to drink, so to speak. It frustrates the voting public, and it makes them so apathetic to what's going on in our process. Because something that simple, something the police cars, the fire trucks, the sanitation guys, the parks department, all of these agencies are driving by this every day, and nobody takes the initiative. Nobody gets it done. And that's the meaning behind those pictures that I'm putting up on Twitter. that go over to Facebook. You know, Rod, you mentioned the thing about the sidewalk, the lifted sidewalk. Well, that was a very simple thing. Back in June, we had a very severe storm. It knocked over a very old tree, and it lifted that sidewalk up about 3 to 6 inches. And it created a very hazardous condition over on Spencer Avenue between Springfield Boulevard and 19th Street. For 3 months, that lays unaddressed. That's the reason why I took the picture. For 3 months, somebody put up a couple of traffic cones over there, but
on a
they
sidewalk.
didn't address the issue.
They put up traffic cones on a sidewalk. That, well, I suppose it's going to warn anybody who's handicapped or in a wheelchair, right? But other than that, what really traffic cones on a sidewalk?
Well, that was my point. That was my very point. Those pictures speak to broken windows, you know, and you know, if you're letting all of these little things go by, this is how a community is ignored and how larger problems will mushroom as a result of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, something catastrophic will happen, and everyone will turn around and say, "Oh yeah, how did all this happen? Why didn't we address it?" I thought the mayor just said he was dedicating 16 million. Wrap your arms around that number here in the city of New York. $16 million to repair the uplifted sidewalks from city-owned trees. All right, if he just poured $16 million into the system to handle and address that, then why the hell isn't it being addressed?
That's a lot of money. How's your campaign going?
It's going very well. And www.joe4ny.com, and we're getting money in. I think we've raised 5-1 to our opponent for in-district contributions. So the voting public is voting with their feet in their pocketbook, and they're coming out and they're laying their donations on us, which is great. Of course, my opponent, who's the incumbent, he's raising money from all the special interests outside the district. So everyone who wants to influence his vote in the city council, they're donating to him. So he's getting people from all over the place that are queuing money in. But as a Republican, we're used to that. You know, if the candidate raises, you know, twice as much money or 3 times as much money, we're used to that because we don't need the amount of money that he's going to need to counter his 43rd place in the rankings in the city council.
There you go. So he needs to go. Well, Joe, thank you for calling in. We got to run for our breaks now. It is always a pleasure to talk to you. We got to have you back on again soon. But one last time, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and support you.
Yeah, sure. Go over to www.joe4ny.com. Drop a donation or just send us a line, and we look forward to seeing you. We're up on Facebook, Joseph Archon Cannon, Twitter, Joe for New York, and Instagram, Joe for New York. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Joe. Always good to talk to you. And we'll be back, folks.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there.
What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
That was Joe Concannon out of New York City again, taking the local to task in New York City. So yeah, hopefully this guy, you guys, if you're in New York City, you need to get out and support Joe Concannon. If I can endorse him, and I guess I can, I would, because he's got some great ideas, and we'll have him back on as the year progresses. So don't go anywhere, but because we're not done, we'll be back. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
(603) 835-3226. You know, one of the things that is very important, we shouldn't poo-poo the local stuff. As Joe Kincannon was talking about, you know, sidewalks. I know a lot of people think that that's just so simplistic. But honestly, folks, it's the little things that really count that we charge our government with taking care of. We don't charge our government with taking care of us and our every need in our lives. We charge our government with taking care of the stuff that the entire public community utilizes. And the most basic of that is our transportation system, our transportation infrastructure, which is roadways and sidewalks and parking ways. I mean, honestly. And frankly, the Bible is pretty clear on this kind of stuff. The story, Jesus talked about the story of the talents. You have been faithful with a little. And you have been good with a little. So I will put you in charge of much. In other words, we can see this firsthand. We have a bunch of politicos out there that cannot handle small-time finances in such a way where they can keep our roadways and streets in good repair. They cannot spend the money properly and accurately to address these issues. So what makes us think that they can get bigger budgets and handle that kind of money better at a state level or even a national level? And as we see, they can't. They can't. They don't even know how to handle the little stuff. How the hell are they going to be able to handle the big stuff? And as we've seen, they can't handle the big stuff, which is why we have a $20 trillion debt nationally. And that's just on the surface. That doesn't even count the unfunded liabilities. Do you realize that this country, on a national level alone, is in debt to the tune of more than $120 trillion? And if you start adding in all the state and local debt, we're a nation that is over $300 trillion in debt. And yet people think, well, he's nitpicking at sidewalks and potholes. Well, no, he's not. And anybody who thinks so, they miss the big picture as well as the little picture. Because now you got he's just like in New York City. I mean, hey, we're going to spend this god-awful amount of money to fix our roadways, our transportation infrastructure, and it's still not getting done, but somehow they're still spending $16 million. And then when it comes time that they really need money for stuff, what are they going to do? They're going to raise taxes and borrow more money and put the city deeper in debt. And this is not just New York. This is not just the Big Apple. This is all over the country. In cities and towns, big to small. If you can't handle the small little details, if you can't handle the fundamentals accurately, responsibly, how are you going to be able to handle the bigger stuff? And we see time and time again that they can't. And what do we normally do as voters? We reward these idiots that can't handle the small stuff at the city level, and we reward them by voting them into a higher office at the state level. And then we say, oh, you've done such a miserable job at the state level. Let's reward you by putting you in Washington, D.C., where you can not just screw up my state and my community, but you can screw up the entire damn country. Yay! This is why there has been, as far as politics is concerned, no wiser statement than what Tip O'Neill said when he stated all politics is local. The man did not realize just how right he was. And you've got to start paying attention to your local stuff, because that's where the meaningful change is going to take place. That is where sending help to Donald Trump to drain the swamp, is going to make take the biggest effect. You got to do it locally. And then you got to do it at your state level. Because all of them have direct swamp sewer pipelines into Washington, D.C. And if you don't cut off the flow, you can't drain the swamp in D.C. I mean, let me give you a perfect analogy. Let's use gallons here. Donald Trump, with whatever he is doing and so far as successful as he's been being able to do stuff without Congress that he can legally and constitutionally do, he's been able to drain 100 gallons from the swamp. The problem is that the pipelines into D.C. are filling up the swamp at 1,000 gallons per hour. And yet Trump has only been able to drain 100 gallons. Do you see the problem? You gotta stop the flow. Plain and simple. You gotta stop the flow. And in November 2018, all over this country, we've got a shot at cutting back and trimming down the flow that is going into Washington, D.C. Frankly, folks, if we don't do it, then there's nothing. Donald Trump is not going to be able to drain the swamp. And it won't be because he's not trying, and it won't be his fault. It'll be ours. I mean, look around your own community. Is your city, your town, your municipality spending a god-awful amount of money and taxes, and nothing is getting done? Where are they spending the money? Where are they misappropriating the money? If they can't fix a damn sidewalk, if they want to fine the residents of the people that live there, they want to fine them for fixing the problem that the city can't fix. I mean, think about this for a second. You've got a dangerous tree that's uprooting, endangering traffic or your property. You want to try to take care of it because after months and months of contacting the city, nobody does. So you go out there and you take care of it, and the next thing you know, within a week, you've got a notice that you're being fined for doing something that the city should have done and the city ignored and could not do. This happens all over the country, folks. And what do they tell you? Well, there's proper procedure. Well, you followed proper procedure, and they didn't do a damn thing about it. And so you try to take care of it, and next thing, they're really quick at sending you a notice of fines, but they're not quick at addressing the real issue, and that's fixing a problem that they're supposed to be on top of since day one. How many people know that? How many people have experienced that? We see it all the well. I mean, look, not to blame our wonderful men and women in blue. Well, let's just take speeding for example. I mean, you got neighborhoods where children might be, and how many times have you said, "Look, you've called the police," and it's not the patrol officer's problem because they're the ones. They're not assigning themselves where they're patrolling. It comes from higher up. And you've called in and you said, look, we've got a speeding problem. Somebody's going to get hurt or even killed. And nobody at the top in the police department sends their patrol officers to patrol your street to try to curb the speeding. But you do 5 miles per hour over on the local highway and they're on top of you. And you think, wait a minute. I've been complaining for months, maybe even years in some communities, about speeding down local roadways, and you're putting all the police officers on the highway? Wait, why are you... Well, I'll tell you why. Because they'll get more money out of people on the highway because they'll be able to stop more. You see, on a local street, people will see the cop and they'll slow down. And so the cops won't be able to issue them tickets. And again, it is not the patrol officer, it's not the beat cop's fault. He's got to go where he's assigned. All of this stuff comes at the local level. It comes from the top down. So in other words, it's the sheriff, or it's the police chief, or in your community, you may call him the commissioner of police, and the mayor or the city council. That's whose fault it is. They're not addressing your needs. They're not saying, hey, look, we've got a major problem. We've got a lot of complaints in this neighborhood. We've got a major problem. We need to step up some patrolling in that. They're not doing that. We need to assign more officers in this particular area. In fact, a lot of communities will tell you that as the crime rate rises, the fewer police they see. Why? Because the higher ups are saying, well, we don't want to put our police officers in undue danger. And so the crime rate skyrockets. How is that addressing the needs of the citizenry or the public? It's not. Now, for the most part, most police want to go where there is a problem. They don't want to be sitting in some cushy area. Most police officers become police officers because why? Because they all tell us the same thing. They want to help the public. They want to keep the public safe. They understand the risk of their jobs, and they're willing to put their lives on the line on a daily basis to try to keep the public safe, to make their community safer and better for everyone. And yet they're not being assigned to the places that need them the most. I know a bunch of police officers, and that's one of their biggest complaints. One of their biggest, they say, we know that this area, but we're not being told, we're not being assigned to be in this particular area. We're being assigned everywhere else except here. We know that this is where the problem is. And some of these officers will do things, they'll put their whole careers at risk by being in places they're not assigned. That's a no-no. That's a huge no-no. But they'll do it. It's not the local police. It's not your beat cop's fault. And I will chastise anybody who says it is. It's the higher ups. It's the ones who do the scheduling. It's the ones that are supposed to know better, who are supposed to be able to get the complaints from the community, and who are supposed to respond to those complaints and those needs and those desires from the community. They are not reciprocating and giving back to the community. But they're sure as shit will sit out on their duffs all day long and take a huge... I mean, do you know what commissioners and and chiefs of police and sheriffs all over. I mean, they make some huge salaries. Many of them 6 figures. And yet your local beat cop, I mean, what are they starting at? 25, 30 grand? It's like our military soldier. I mean, many of them, especially if they're young and low ranking, their families are on food stamps, for crying out loud. But they are willing to put their lives on the line to protect us. And yet they're not being utilized properly. Because some higher up wants to keep his cushy, high-paying job so they can make things look like and manipulate the numbers. See, look, we've got this many cops. They're all over the place except where they need to be. And crime is down all over here, all over these places, except where it needs to be. And that's what people like Joe Kincannon are trying to address on a local level. And you got to find people at your local level. And if you don't have people like that in your local level, then maybe you should consider running yourself. Local politics is not like state and national politics. You're probably not going to go through all the bullshit that people have to go through. That's what a lot of people see. And they're like, I don't want to go through that. Well, there isn't going to be an anal exam for local city council. There really isn't. But those are the places that you can start to cut the flow of the muck in the swamp water from flowing into your state capital, which then flows into Washington, D.C. That's where it's got to start, folks, and I'm going to keep hammering this and hammering it until November.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
Washington Post, the WAPO, has something that is very beneficial to the president, even though they want to make it, they're trying to spin it to make it look like the president is guilty of this whole Russian collusion thing. Well, here's the story, actually. There have been leaked emails that show the Trump campaign officials rejecting opportunities to meet with Russia as far back as March of 2016. Yes, this is from Hot Air via the Washington Post. It turns out low-level Trump foreign policy advisor by the name of George Papadopoulos. Yes, there really are people named Papadopoulos. They are most likely Greek. Tried to set up meetings between the campaign and Russian officials starting last March before Trump had securely clinched the nomination. Some of the campaign's major players, including Paul Manafort, weren't interested. Not only were they not interested, they were mindful of proper protocol, and at least one advisor in the emails noted that the meetings with foreign states would raise Logan Act questions, while other major campaign officers noted and mentioned that U.S. allies should be notified before any Russia or any other foreign leader meeting happened. Now, of course, the Washington Post was trying to spin it by saying, by pushing it into the collusion narrative, noting that this proves that Russian government agents were eager early on to make contact with Trump. However, what they failed to state in the WAPO story is that the same overtures were made via the Hillary Clinton campaign. But there was no collusion there at all, right? So here you have the WAPO itself out there saying that, hey, look, there are emails now that have been leaked, quote unquote leaked, that show Trump was, the campaign was approached back in as early as March of 2016 by the Russians, and the Trump campaign rejecting any notion of any meeting with any foreign dignitaries, including the Russians, for various logical and legal reasons. Where are the emails that show Hillary did the same thing? The Hillary campaign did the same thing. Yeah, those are missing, aren't they? But yeah, no, we're gonna keep with this Mueller Russian collusion thing, even though that we have emails that are proven that Trump campaign is saying no, including some of the major players like Paul Manafort, saying no, we're not going to meet with these people. I mean, first of all, we should notify our allies. There's Logan Act possibilities here, violation possibilities here. We're not going to do any of this stuff. It's just not right. Oh, but we here at the Washington Post believe that it goes to show that the Russians were really trying to set up some sort of collusion for Donald Trump. All the while, Hillary's people were actually getting the same stuff and actually meeting them.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you gotta get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better, at nih.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 already here on the Rod Eccles Show on this Tuesday morning, August number 15 in the year of our Lord 2017. Fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here as I sit firmly ensconced in the Freedom Throne behind the Freedom Mic in the Bunkerized studio. Welcome back to all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. I am glad that you are here. Honestly, I cannot believe this is 2 hours down already. I mean, really, where does the time go? But still got a ton of stuff to cover that's in the paper pile this morning. Still have more and more and more and more and more and more. Well, you get the idea. Along with your call, 603-835-3226, should you wish to avail yourself of such a thing. We have this thing in... well, we got two stories here. You can't win with these nut job regimes, can you? We have now a story out there saying, which is to Donald Trump's, it's a win for the Trumpster, that North Korea is saying that, hey, we're going to back off about targeting Guam. Because, I guess they're saying is that they're not going to send any test missiles towards Guam. Well, the big thing is that, okay, there are some people that say, well, they don't have the ability to hit the broadside of a barn, let alone, trying to be accurate and, thousands of miles away to hit Guam. But at some point, they're going to be able to do it. Right? At some point, this technology, they're going to figure out the technology, because let's face it, they're human, like the rest of the world, and there are many parts of the rest of the world that have figured out this stuff. And they're not alone over in North Korea. They are getting some technical assistance from Russia and China to a certain degree. So they're going to figure it out. The question is, when? And do you want to take a chance that a test missile is not actually a test missile, but the real thing? And when are we going to know? Well, knowing after the fact that they successfully strike an ally or one of our territories, that's a bit too late to figure out, oh, now they can do it. Yeah, I'm just saying. But in any case, it appears that Kim Jong-un might be backing off his blustering of targeting Guam and possibly other American targets. And that's due to pretty much to Donald Trump saying, look, you do anything like that, we're gonna come into your country and we're gonna break some shit and kill some people. And it's going to be so quick, so efficient, so bad that you're going to be living below ground for decades. And you even had the point where China's like saying, well, if Kim launches the first salvo, if he launches first, U.S. go right ahead, take him out. But just don't you launch first, which is kind of a weak. Who does that as a nation? That's very, very stupid to say, actually. Oh, hey, Mr. Kim. This is Xi Jinping goes over to Trump and says, "Look, Donald, Mr. President, if you shoot first, we're going to get involved. But if they shoot first, then we're just going to sit back and watch you mop the floor with them." What do you think the United States is going to do? If they really want to get rid of this guy, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to provoke him, aren't we? And we're going to look at China and say, look, he threw the first punch. And China's going to say, okay, you go ahead. Do you think China really wants to get into it with us right now? No, they don't. And this doesn't mean that they're not willing to get involved with us. Militarily speaking, at some point in time, because I believe that they are building towards that. The one thing people have to remember about the Asian culture is that these people are very, very, very patient. One of the big things about that people thought was amazing about Japanese corporate and business culture is that Japanese businesses, unlike our businesses, we have business plans. I've written a few business plans in my day, and you go to a bank to try to get a loan or so, they want to see your business plan. They want to see your projections 1, 2, 3, and 5 years out. And you say, well, okay, yeah, but we have this planned out for 10 to 20 years. The banker will look at you and say, we don't need that. That's stupid. Well, if I take out this business loan is going to last, 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah, we don't need to see that. We just need to see where you're going your first couple of years into 5 years. Well, the Japanese business model was so completely different because here in the USA, we're all about now, instant gratification. Okay, well, yeah, we're loaning you this money for 10 or 15 years, but we expect you to pay it back within 5. We want it all back now. And the Japanese took a totally different point. Do you realize that major companies in Japan, like Toyota and Suzuki, they had business plans and business models that stretched out for 100 years. Now, go back into the 80s and 90s. They were writing books left and right here in this country about the Japanese business model and how to do business the Japanese way. And all those books talked about that. Yeah, Japanese corporations, they had business plans that were written for 50 to 100 years out. Well, if you got a business plan that's 50 to 100 years out, what is that? They know that the people in charge of the company aren't going to be alive, most likely, in 50 to 100 years. It's called patience. And what was one of the things about the Vietnam War? You know, while we were bombing the hell out of the North, they were digging underground to survive underground because what? All they had to do was wait us out. They saw what was happening on TV. They knew that the Americans would get war weary and tired. All they had to do was wait us out. You know, they tried some of these offensives like the Tet Offensive and other things, and it didn't work out for them. So what did they ended up just waiting us out. And sure enough, we got so tired of seeing our war dead, of the draft, of being at war, that we forced our politicians to pull out of Vietnam. And then what did they do? They won. The Chinese did the same thing with the Japanese. You know, sure, they were trying to fight the Japanese, especially during World War II, but what did they do mostly? They were patient and waited them out. This is China today. They understand they're playing catch-up, military and economically speaking, but they're very patient. We may think that they're trying to speed up the process, but understand that they're not. This is a methodical plan that they have. They're patient. Sure, you got Kim Jong-un, who's a crazy nut job, who's doing all the blustering up there, but they're just as patient. They're not, you know, for the most part, they're not impatient boobs. So this whole thing is, you know, I listen to all these people talk about, well, we have so much infrastructure invested in China. They're not going to do, like, what, are you crazy? They don't want to upset the apple cart before it's time, before they're ready to upset the apple cart. Understand that. They don't give a damn about how much money they have invested in our debt. Because they feel at some point in time, whether it's 50 years or 100 years from now, they're going to be paid 100% plus interest back in full, even if they have to take it. That's called patience, folks. That's all it is. And I know that there are far too many people in Washington, D.C. that don't understand this because they have the wrong kind of mindset. They have a Western philosophy of do it now, have it now, enjoy it now because, hey, who cares about the future? Because we're not going to be alive to have to deal with it. Somebody else is going to have to deal with it. And the Asian culture is all about what the Bible once said. You're supposed to do things today that will positively affect 7 generations from you from today. Well, Asians take that to heart.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
$603-835-3226. You also have to understand about the historically speaking, the United States has been on the cutting edge for the past 100, 150 years of technology. We've been on the cutting edge. We've blazed the trail. But because of that, well, everybody knows the hockey stick scenario as it goes towards Al Gore's non-existent global warming. But the hockey stick scenario is also true of technology in learning. In other words, the more we learn, the more ability we have to learn new stuff at a faster pace. And thus there's been this hockey stick of advancement over the past 50 years has been incredible. I mean, seriously, I mean, just think about this. 100 years ago, we were just barely scratching the surface of aviation. I mean, 1917, there really wasn't any real fighter squadrons out there. There wasn't much to do with aviation at all. 100 years later, and we're talking about routinely, being prepared to routinely fly in outer space and fly to the moon and stuff. I mean, seriously. And that's being able to do that is not as far off as some people might think. I really don't think it is. But just where we've come compared to the history of man, where we've come the past 100 years is absolutely incredible. And the more we learn, the faster we learn new stuff. So we've blazed a trail in that. Now think about other countries that were kind of at first left behind, like China. And then all of a sudden, China in about less than 30 years, in a generation, they've gone to being a backwater country, a third world country, basically, to being the world's second largest economy. In a generation. Well, because not only are they able to take the knowledge that they learned, but they can also take the knowledge that everybody else has learned. And that's why it appears to us that they are moving so fast, technologically speaking. Sure, they've stolen some of the technology. They've had some of it given to them, like, Clintons did that back in the 90s. And they've developed some of their own. They've combined it all. I still hear people poo-poo the Chinese aircraft carrier. Do you realize what the Chinese did to that Russian aircraft carrier? They basically totally deconstructed it and reconstructed it. That's why it took them so long to quote-unquote refurbish it. They were improving the damn thing. And not only did they do that, it became the model for the ones that they're currently building from scratch. So you want to talk about increasing the hockey stick learning curve? They really have learned that, which has been able to propel them from basically a third world backwater country to a first world economic and military power. Don't ever underestimate human beings, no matter what country they may be in. I'm just saying, I don't know why we don't understand this. I would never underestimate anyone. Not in this day and age. I mean, knowledge is too freely available, and since we're all human beings and we all have the same gray matter on top of our heads, you put enough of them together and they will come up with stuff that will blow your mind, no matter where they are. And if you have this superiority complex about the USA, you better think again. We have a lot of smart people, but you know what was really smart about the US of A? Is importing a bunch of smart people from other countries and putting them under one country and under one roof and getting them to work together. That was the smartest thing ever. And I hate to get biblical on you, but the Bible talked about this too. Tower of Babel, anybody? God basically said, well, if they can get together and do this, they can do anything. So let's befuddle their languages and shoot them off to the four corners of the globe so they can't do this. At least not yet. Combining human knowledge is one thing that we do very well today. When you're able to do that, a bunch of smart people from all over the planet can collaborate. Even if they don't realize they're collaborating with one another, they are. So to think that the Norks can't get this stuff up there to work, yeah, man, that would be a huge mistake to underestimate them. Which is why I say, who knows what they already have? By the way, do you know that this miniaturization of warheads? Did you know that there was the report that supposedly is a brand new report is actually 4 years old? It says that they can do it now, thanks to Trump. No, they did this under Obama. Not only can they do stuff that we don't expect them to do, generally speaking, but we have reports that people ignore until it's politically expedient for them to pay attention to it. Well, that's a big mistake. Any case, I bring this all up simply because now you also have Iran out there that is saying, hey, you know what? We could ramp up our nuclear program in hours if you guys go ahead with more sanctions against us. In other words, they're saying, well, if you ramp up your economic sanctions against us, we're just going to tell you out loud about the programs that we have running secretly. Does anybody think that the Iranians are not secretly continuing their nuclear program? I mean, come on. Honestly, they're looking for an excuse to quote unquote come out of the closet. And they found one. And in many of the world's eyes, it would be legitimate if they did. That's why they said, we can revamp this thing up in hours, man, because they haven't shut it down. And now there's stories out there that Iran is putting seaworthy military ships out into the Atlantic. Now I know you can say that, those little dinky things versus our ships. Well, they're faster and more maneuverable than our big ships. They could not win a war in a battle of the seas in the Atlantic against the United States, but they could do some damage. I can tell you those people at sea, our Navy isn't trying to underestimate the Iranian sea power at all. They take them deadly serious. And so should our stupid politicians. Donald Trump is trying to take them seriously.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
The left is always out there talking about how when somebody else threatens us, see, we're spoiled over here. In modern times, this country has never really, other than the beginning of World War II, this country, the mainland, has never really been threatened by major warfare. Other than, I take that back. There was a Cold War, the Soviet. That threat was very real. It was very, very, very real. And understand that at the time we had politicians on both sides of the political aisle that fully understood the need to keep our military at the cutting edge, and that we needed to develop things to prevent the Soviet Union from making the first move. First strike and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, we've never really, these current generations, younger generations, have never lived under that type of a threat. Never. There has not been anybody who's directed its full military might and scientific community against us, as far as they can remember. I mean, you want to, let's just take the millennials. They were, the first of them were born in 1980, 81. And by the time the end of the 80s was over, the Soviet Union was disbanded and broken up, and that whole nuclear holocaust type of scenario had been removed. They grew up very spoiled. And so now when anybody directly threatens the US of A, such as North Korea, it's not, or Iran, it's not the madmen's fault of those countries. No. Somehow it's our fault. Well, they do not realize and understand at all that one of the reasons, there are a number of reasons why certain countries, especially dictatorial types of countries like Iran, like North Korea, and others around the globe that are nowhere near the ability that those two countries are, but would like to be, why they dislike us. They dislike us not only because of our freedom and our capitalistic society, but they really dislike us more for our hedonistic side, which is the liberal mantra that is prevalent in this country. See, in their countries, there is no such thing as liberalism. I think Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was very clear when he was president of Iran and they brought him here to the United States. Remember that? What is it, New York City? He gave a speech, New York City College or something like that. Remember when he came here? And he was talking about our problems with what? Homosexuality. Our problems with the LGBT community. And he said they don't have that problem in Iran. And we had a bunch of millennials at the time laughing at him, and he responded, do you know some? Who are they? Tell me who they are. And for the first time, I think that group of millennials, that group of liberals understood something. There was no freedom in Iran for people to be who they think that they wanted to be. Especially if they were of what the liberals in this country supported. That is why there are so many countries around the globe with dictators that dislike the United States. It isn't because of our foreign policy that we're being told, not so much as it is wanting to spread freedom, but we're spreading what they call a disease of liberalism around the world. They've called it a disease many times before. And you liberals just seem to let it fly over your heads. No. Well, we support Islam and all that kind of... No, you would be the first that they would behead or hang. Now, I'm not saying that's what we should do here, because we're not. I mean, that's ridiculous. But the whole notion that you think is that some people think that the reason why these countries hate us is because we're trying to export democracy. No, there are parts of democracy that those types of people just cannot stand or fathom. Whether it be for just because they don't personally like it, or it's religious based. I don't. You can't make these people see this. In fact, they are so numb to this idea that just like in pre-World War II Germany, that kind of crap could be happening to them and their families and their friends personally. And they still would not see it as a complete and total threat to them. You have Muslims throwing gays off of tall buildings, or beheading them or hanging them for even being suspected of sodomy. And women being stoned to death because they shamed their male member of a household because, I don't know, they went outside without their burqa on, or they went outside without their hijab on, or they looked at another man's the wrong way. Or they were having what some might call inappropriate relations with another woman. And they ignore all of that. The left in this country, in the West, ignores that. And they complain, well, we need to fight for our rights here. Well, what about the rights of those in the Middle East who live under threat of death on a daily basis? Most Middle Eastern and dictatorial countries do not have a gay community. Just saying. They don't. Because if they find you, if they catch you, they'll kill you. And it won't even interrupt their lunch. This is why these generations today, they just don't understand what threat of tyranny is, because we've been so successful at eliminating it. And those that are left do not currently have the ability to hit us directly, which is why we freak out whenever there's a potential for a terrorist attack. I mean, you would think that 9/11 in 2001 would have been a humongous wake-up call for the left, but no. Instead, after they calmed down and after they voted for war on terror, they came to their quote-unquote senses and decided to say, well, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. This war is going on too long. There's no way for us to win it. We need to get out of these countries. We need to back off. We need to leave them alone. And not only should we leave them alone, we should invite them into our countries to show that we're no threat to them. And they get into our countries, they don't buy the notion that we're so open-minded and we're so accepting of them. They still come to our countries that we invited them into, and then they kill us. And then we blame the hardline right-wingers in various countries for stoking the fear and the hatred. When the reality is that we are responding to them. How difficult is this to understand? But evidently, it's extremely difficult to understand. I'm amazed at these so-called smart people. They don't understand how the world works at all, because they've been trapped and spoiled, in this culture of excess, of instant gratification. And they think that they base everything around the world on their own personal idea. You go to a country like Bangladesh, they're only making $5 a day. That's terrible. Without even realizing to understand that $5 a day in the Bangladesh economy is the equivalent of the middle class here in the United States making $40,000 a year. Oh, no. They want to impose a $15 an hour minimum wage in places like Bangladesh. If you're making $15 an hour in Bangladesh, you're a member of Bangladesh's 1%, of which here you guys hate. Which is really kind of ironic, considering many of your icons and the people that you hold up so highly and so dearly are 1%ers. But there's something else that foreign entities like China have learned. Let's take, for instance, all this green technology. Now, I read a report that China was the world's largest producers of solar panels. So you would think that China would be full of solar panels all over. No, they're not. They export that garbage to the West, Western Europe and us. Why? Because China realizes that crap doesn't really work very well. But we'll buy it. As a matter of fact, there's a Wall Street Journal report that shows that borrowers of these green loans, they're trying to green up their properties, are defaulting at an alarming rate. I guess they're not saving any money to pay the loans for these things, are they? One of America's fastest growing loan types, the Green PACE loan. These types of loans were designed to help homeowners make eco-friendly updates to their own property. They're defaulting at an ever-increasing and alarming rate. So in other words, people are borrowing, just $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 to put things up like solar panels on their house to either heat their house or heat their water. And it's not saving them any money. And they're defaulting on these loans. And they're defaulting on these particular loans at a greater rate than they're defaulting on the home mortgage loan itself. And yet, places like where you would think that solar panels would do a bang-up job aren't putting them up. There aren't solar fields going up in the Sahara Desert. There aren't solar fields going up in most of the Middle East. There aren't solar fields going up in China. And China's the largest producers right now of solar panels. Where are they sending that crap? To the United States. And Rod, you're just anti-alternative energy. No, I'm all for alternative energy that works. And by the way, the Tesla Model 3 is out, and they started delivering it. And for $35,000 to $45,000, you could get a Tesla Model 3. But don't expect to get one for at least 18 months if you order one today. I mean, that's how far back they're backed up. I think it's great for what it is. And, the $35,000 model or $33,000 model, whatever it is, will let you go a little over 200 miles in a single charge. And the more expensive one will get you at 310 to 320 miles on a single charge. That's great. There's just one problem. Where are we going to get all the electricity that produces that? I'm not even talking about the environmental impact of just making the damn thing and making the lithium batteries and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about where are we going to get the electricity to charge up all those electric cars? Think a bunch of solar panels is going to charge these things? No. It's going to be oil, coal, and gas-fired and nuclear-powered electric plants. So are you really saving the environment? I mean, it's bad enough that, we could run into gas shortages pretty quick in this country if we were ever to go to war. But imagine if they take out a few of our power generating plants or some of our electric infrastructure. Our transportation system would come to a halt. And you try to bring this up to a liberal? Man, you might as well be looking for a dodo bird.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong, and any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hayride.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Well, it looks like there's a new question out there, and this is for journalists that you would think that the left really supposedly loves journalists, right? Journalists were assaulted at a Richmond protest. Yes, a journalist filming the Richmond protest yesterday with his cell phone, Sunday night, was assaulted and had to be taken to the hospital for stitches. Yes, a WTVR CBS 6 journalist was assaulted by a protester in Richmond on Sunday night. The journalist, who was not working for the station at the time, was using his cell phone to record video of a large crowd of Monument Avenue protesters passing the Camel, which is a live music venue on West Broad Street in the area. And one of them even shouted to the journalist, "Stop filming, bro!" And since he didn't stop filming, they assaulted him to such an extent where he needed to be taken to the hospital and received stitches. He got hit in the back of the head with probably a bat or a stick or something, but they attacked him. And of course, there's another story out there talking about, should journalists be allowed to block people on social media now? Well, now that they've tried to sue government officials for doing that on their own private pages and Twitter accounts and things like that. Now they're asking the question, well, should journalists be allowed to block people? So this is a slippery slope. I warned you about this, that they were going to start saying, well, if this person can't, then this person can't, because, hey, it's freedom of speech, and I have a right for them to hear me on their page. Well, you don't, but this is where it's going. This is where it's leading. They never, ever stop, folks. The left never stops. You give them what they want, and they're always going to want more. Here's an update also from the Los Angeles Times about Jamel Moore. Remember the black kid, the 26-year-old who was I guess a high-class, high-paid male prostitute for the gay sect of Los Angeles. Well, Los Angeles County Sheriff's homicide detectives are now investigating the circumstances surrounding his so-called self-induced fatal drug overdose at the West Hollywood home of prominent Democratic donor Ed Buck. Jamel Moore's death back on the 27th of July was ruled by the morgue to be an accidental overdose. Well, evidently, the sheriff's department isn't so sure, after all. After the family and friends have come out and said all kinds of disparaging things about Ed Buck and some of his friends about what they like to do to male prostitutes, especially black male gay prostitutes, they like to see them drugged up and high and have their way with them or what have you. A lot of people were saying this. So now the sheriff's department out there in L.A. is not so sure it was an accident. In other words, they're not so sure that it was a accidental drug overdose. Now, this guy's a Democrat, and he's a big Democratic donor. Is he going to be held personally responsible and liable for this kid's death? I doubt it. But the very fact that somebody out there on the left coast is saying, maybe we should look at this again, this might not be what it seems. I mean, look, I've seen enough, Criminal Minds and other cop shows to know that things aren't often as they first appear. And it looks like maybe somebody out there in the sheriff's department in L.A. is thinking the same thing. They could easily stage this to look like it was an accidental overdose when somebody was responsible for this kid's death. Where'd he get the drugs? Question number one. Well, there is so much more. We didn't even get through half the paper pile this morning, so we'll have to continue this tomorrow along with the ever-popular and informative Intel report. You don't want to miss Agent 0010's report. I've seen some of the report already. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, have a great Tuesday afternoon. We'll see you back here in about 21 hours. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.